Hey, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Marietta, Georgia, including a story about how people in Marietta, Georgia don't really know how to drive in the snow. Hey everyone, my name is Victor and I'm a licensed real estate agent here in Georgia. And in this video, we're talking about the pros and cons of living in Marietta, Georgia. As always, if you have any questions about moving to Marietta or considering relocating here, feel free to call or text or email anytime. I'm more than happy to help. I love making these videos and putting out content about Marietta, but more than that, I love helping people make that transition to Marietta and help them make it as smooth as possible for them. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. If you stick around this channel long enough, you'll see that one of my favorite parts about Marietta is Marietta Square. It's a great area to live. There are lots of condos, newer condos, and older homes there as well. And so living around that area really provides some great walkability and community because of how close those homes are to Marietta Square. In fact, if you check out one of my previous videos, you'll see where I talk about living, especially in downtown Marietta and some of the other areas in Marietta. But yeah, living in Marietta Square is a great value. Marietta Square has lots of shops and lots of restaurants there. In fact, in the middle of Marietta Square is Glover Park. I think in the 1920s or 1930s, the courthouse for Marietta used to be right there in the center of the square, but the city decided to move the courthouse out to one of the side streets of Marietta. And so they replaced it with what is now Glover Park. Glover Park is an awesome place to hang out, bring your family or friends. Pretty regularly you can see kids there running around the Glover Park area there. A bunch of park benches and a fountain. There's a sound stage there in Glover Park where they have regular live events, live music there. So overall, it's a great area, a great park to hang out in. The restaurants around there in Marietta Square are really good as well. Some of my favorites are El on North. Sugar Cakes is a really great restaurant. The Aussie Bakery is there. Red Hair Brewery is there. The Local Exchange is a good one. Lots of local vendors there in Marietta Square. Also on Saturday mornings, there is a farmer's market there in Marietta Square. There will be local vendors and local farmers come. And so lots of people are always there at the square. Super lively place to hang out. Also, the courthouse is still there near Marietta Square. So if you happen to need to pay a speeding ticket or some kind of parking fine, you'll be super close to be able to do that as well. Another awesome part about Marietta is Truist Park. Truist Park is where the Atlanta Braves play. In fact, they really just moved to, their stadium just moved to that area about 4 or 5 years ago, I believe. Prior to that, the stadium for the Atlanta Braves used to be in Fulton County. And so for people living in Marietta, that was about a 45-minute drive, maybe an hour drive in rush hour traffic. And so not a lot of people liked making that drive down to Fulton County to see the Braves play. Now that they play so close to Marietta, the park is really just about a 5-minute drive just outside of Marietta. And so super convenient drive. In fact, there are some condos and some homes there near the stadium as well. I believe they actually have a Marietta address. And so really that's walking distance to Truist Park. Also around Truist Park is the Battery. The Battery is a great area to hang out. They have lots of restaurants there as well. They have like a little green space there with a giant like a TV screen where they play the Braves games. The Battery has really become a very popular attraction for lots of people living in Cobb County. The ease to be able to get to the Battery and the amount of entertainment there is a really big plus for lots of people living in this area. Another huge benefit of living in Marietta is the cost of living here. Compared to some of the other cities in the country, Marietta really has some very affordable living. I'd say the average home value here in Marietta is about $300,000 to $400,000, and with lower home values comes lower property taxes. Property taxes here for a home of about $300,000 or $400,000 comes out to about $2,000 or $3,000. Pretty great value, especially considering some of the property taxes in other cities around the country. Another great part about living in Marietta is the climate throughout the year. The temperatures really don't get much higher than 95 degrees here during the summertime. In fact, it's August now, and I don't know that we've reached 95 degrees yet this summer. It's been a pretty mild summer overall. We've had some days in the 90s. But most of the temperatures here have been, during this summer, have been in the high 80s, sometimes in the low 90s. During the wintertime, we get down to about 30 degrees, maybe a couple weeks a year we get into the 20s, but overall it's very doable, very bearable in the wintertime. We don't get much snow. We do get some ice every once in a while, but overall the temperatures here are pretty great. The pollen here from the pine trees in Marietta absolutely sucks. If you have seasonal allergies or that kind of thing gets to you, you might not want to live here in Marietta. I know I have seasonal allergies, and it's certainly a pain in the butt every spring. The amount of pollen that we have is just crazy high. The pollen will coat the street, coat the sidewalks, coat cars. There will be yellow everywhere during the springtime because of the pollen. And so the seasonal allergies definitely get pretty bad here during the spring. We have lots of trees and lots of pine trees, and so because of that, the different allergens that cause those seasonal allergies are very high during the spring. Another bad part about living in Marietta are the lot sizes of the homes. In this part of the state where we're so close to Metro Atlanta, we don't really have very large lot sizes for homes. I think an average lot size here is about 1/4 of an acre to 1/2 an acre. There are certainly some homes that have larger lot sizes in 1 or 2 or 3 acres, but that's not very common. Really, the average is about 1/2 an acre. Another downside of living in Marietta is just how far everything is. It depends, I guess, on what part of the country you're coming from, but in Marietta, really grocery stores or different things that you may need to get to from home are at least 15-20 minutes away from each other. If you're coming from a big city where everything is a lot closer, grocery stores or different shopping or different things are closer to home, that's not really what we have here in Marietta. This is more like a suburban area, and so everything is pretty far. And on top of that, we don't have public transportation, so most people, really everybody who lives in Marietta, has a vehicle. Obviously with vehicle comes vehicle maintenance monthly or yearly. I mentioned earlier about the ice or the snow that happens here in Marietta. Unfortunately, every once in a long while, what happens is the temperature will be around 30 degrees, and while we don't get a lot of snow, what we do get sometimes is ice. And so typically what happens is during the daytime in the winter, if it rains and the temperature is low enough, in the afternoon it will rain, but then in the evening, once the temperature goes down some below freezing, that rain and that water that has stayed on the ground obviously becomes ice. Now, this isn't really too big of a deal, except that here in Georgia, many people don't know how to drive in the ice. We don't get that a lot, and so it's not a really high-level skill for Mariettans and their ability to drive on the ice. In fact, in 2014, you may have heard of an incident that happened here in Metro Atlanta called Snowmageddon, or the ice apocalypse. This is when there was about a 24-hour traffic jam on the interstates, including here in Marietta, literally because of people not knowing how to drive in the snow or on the ice. And so this caused a huge backup all over the state. I know I had family members that were in that traffic jam overnight. This was all over the news. I mean, it just really showed the country and the world just how bad the drivers are here in Marietta and here in Georgia. Oh yeah, the humidity here in Marietta absolutely sucks. Really all of Georgia, actually. We have so many lakes and ponds and creeks and rivers all around the state and the city of Marietta that really cause a lot of humidity in the air. And so in the summertime, while we don't necessarily reach 95 or 100 degrees very often, that 90-degree day feels like 100 degrees sometimes because of the humidity. If you're looking for a city or a state with a dry climate, Marietta's not really that. We certainly have a crazy high amount of humidity here. This next one can be kind of a pro or a con depending on what you're used to. Marietta is about 20 to 30 minutes drive from Atlanta. Lots of people love living in this area here in Marietta because of that distance to Atlanta. You're not dealing with the Atlanta traffic or the hustle and bustle of such a big city. And so if you have anything that you need to do in the city of Atlanta, it's just about a 20 to 30 minute drive down to the city. Now, like I said, some people like that, but some people don't like that. If you're used to living in the big city and the big city feel of Atlanta is what you're looking for, being 20 to 30 minutes away might not necessarily be a good thing. The interstates, which is the main route to the city of Atlanta, can get pretty congested and can make that drive to Atlanta pretty difficult. I-75 is the main interstate that runs through the city of Marietta. Really, most of Marietta is built right around I-75, and so any home that's in Marietta is typically about 15 to 20 minutes max from the interstate. Now, this is really great if you're wanting to live close to the interstate, but like I said, if you're wanting to live super close to the city of Atlanta, 20 to 30 minutes, it just depends on where you're coming from and what you're looking for. Hey, thanks for watching the video. As always, if you're considering moving here or relocating to Marietta, Georgia, feel free to call, text, email. I'm more than happy to help. Also, be sure to check out some of the other videos that I have on the channel. See you next time.